Welcome to the conservative side of Capital Christian Politics.
I'm Bryce.
And I'm Weston.
And this is your news.
Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the debates.
It seemed like in the first debate that Trump was very much stronger in taxes, education, and jobs, talking about how he'd fix foreign trade and get money into the inner school districts.
Which does make sense, Bryce, considering that he is a multi-billionaire. Granted, he did start out with some money from his father and some other places, but anyone who can take a couple $1 million and turn it into billions definitely knows what he's doing.
That's the truth, and I like that he wants to get into the education system to help further our future as Americans, especially in the inner cities.
I agree. Clinton also had a decent campaign when it came to education. She believed in definitely helping the inner cities and things like that, but Trump really shined in that aspect. But along the lines of racial tension with the police force, Trump called for more law and order, whereas Hillary Clinton wanted to rebuild relations that have been torn down over the past few decades.
I think that was a smart move on her part, trying to get the African American community to bridge over with the American force instead of trying to pushing the issue, but fix it in peace and work hand in hand to keep our society going.
Yeah, I agree with that. Unfortunately, both candidates did bicker. We'll continue about this on the second debate right after this commercial break.
A pulse, felt by one, sends a ripple, felt by some. A shiver, felt by many, until it amplifies, magnifies into a tremor that electrifies. Badgers everywhere, moving as one, tilting the world on its axis.
Wrong, 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 double wrong, triple wrong, wrong to the 9th degree, W-R-O-N-G.
And that was Bryce's impersonation of Trump at the second presidential debate. Both Trump and Hillary Clinton criticized each other for past deeds and things of current.
Shout out Robert Cruz, you dang liberal.
While the third debate, though, had a little bit more progress in the political arena, Trump said that he will accept the results of the election, that is if he wins. He also criticized the FBI and media for helping Clinton to win the election, even though the election has not taken place.
Saying the man is against him. Also, Trump is trying to bring jobs back to the Rust Belt area, trying to win over voters, saying that he'll bring back key jobs to those states and those blue-collared, hard-working class citizens.
He said he, quote, wants to make a tremendous amount of jobs, and also he wants to turn the U.S. into a, quote, economic machine. Hillary Clinton, though, just said that she doesn't want to add a penny to the national debt. But at the same time, some debt may need to be accrued if we want to get us out of the hole that we are in.
That's the truth. We need a deep hole, fam. Deep hole.
Anyways, there were some accusations and things of that nature. Trump was accused by Clinton of having help from Russian hackers and by being a personal favorite of Putin. But those things are just banter that has been very typical of this campaign season.
Surprisingly, Trump did not bring up the emails. That was actually really surprising. I thought he was going to bring those up immediately, but he did not pull that sword.
It's one of those things, too, that even when he does bring them up, it almost seems like background noise now, since he's mentioned it so many times.
Yep, you're right.
Anyways, we'll be back with you after a short break.
It's a place that breathes life into ideas. A network for the creative thinkers, entrepreneurs, and pioneers of tomorrow. Is it any wonder that sitting at its center is a university whose sole purpose is helping people discover theirs? We're Texas. What starts here changes the world.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Today we're going to talk about the 4 presidential candidates. That's
4.
right, there's 4 of them.
4.
Trump being the Republican,
Trump train.
Clinton being the Democrat,
I'm with her.
Johnson being the Libertarian,
Gary!
and Jill Stein being the representative for the Green Party.
Really green, fam. Really green.
Today we're going to talk about a few points that have been of interest in this election. We're going to start out with law enforcement using racial profiling. Trump agreed that they should do this, whereas all the other candidates disagreed.
See, he really lost me there. I think this might hurt him with the minority voters, because even though it did work a little bit, you can't single out a single group of people, because at the end of the day, what's going to stop them from singling out other people? You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, we're all minorities, we're all Americans. There's no reason that me and you walking down the street, I should just get stopped because I'm a different color or different from a different place. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed. Now on to the topic of abortion. Trump disagreed and said that it should be legal, whereas all of the other candidates agreed that abortion is a fundamental right as an American.
Man, see, I've always struggled with this topic because as a born-again Christian, I don't believe in abortion, and I don't think it should be legal. I think that baby is a citizen and should have the right to live just like everyone else. And you could find other things in biblical voting guides. That's right, other information. See, don't just listen to our word for it, look it up yourself.
And what's interesting about this, though, from a law standpoint, is that if a woman is on her way to get an abortion and she gets into a car wreck and she dies, and the baby dies of course, or fetus as they call it, that it is considered a double homicide.
You know what it's really called? It's called a double standard.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's only in the benefit to the state that they actually use it, that you can charge you with it, but when they want to kill it, it is what it is.
Now,
Sad.
on to a little bit more of a lighter subject, and that is Obamacare. Now, this is a really split decision right here. Trump does not agree with Obamacare, but Hillary Clinton does. The two frontrunners definitely have a split view on this, whereas Johnson and Stein both disagree and say, hey, it should be disbanded.
I agree with the third party candidates on this one. I think it should be disbanded. It's not working. Things aren't getting better in the economy fully. People are just being lazy and not doing work. I mean, I'm not saying Obamacare was a bad idea, but I'm just saying the way it's structured, I mean, just people take advantage of it, and we need to change that.
Yeah, and it really has oppressed the independent insurance companies. They have really suffered because it has taken away their clients and made it almost illegal for them to have certain clients. I know personally of some friends that have had to switch to Obamacare, and then because of that, they actually weren't even covered by Obamacare, and then they were left without insurance, which is extremely tough when you're trying to raise a family.
That's the truth, man. That's the truth.
And also we have the Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership, or TPP. And this right here was actually almost across the board. People said that we should get rid of it, besides Gary Johnson. And then again, Gary Johnson can be a little out there at times.
Remember, we're all bees in a hive. Dance for joy.
Keep dancing. Now, the wall on the U.S.-Mexico border, which has been a very hotly debated topic, Trump is the only candidate that agrees that we should have one.
I find this funny because I feel when he mentioned it, he wasn't talking about a literal wall. I felt like he talked about putting military there so that way people can't just hop into from borders and have our borders secure. But I mean, if he wants to build a wall, power to him.
Yeah, exactly. It is one of those things where it's a national security concern. As we mentioned in the third presidential debate, Trump did give some credit to the heroin trade because of a weak wall. Because we've had a weak wall, the heroin trade has been able to boom, so to speak. But there are many other factors. But that's the point that Trump previously made. Now on to the allowing of Syrian refugees.
That's what happened when you have budget cuts, people.
See, if you have budget cuts at a budget cut news station, you get things like that happen.
Hey, but America never falls.
Yep, the American flag still stands strong. Anyways, on to allowing Syrian refugees into the United States. Now, what's interesting about this one is that everyone besides Trump agrees that we should allow them in.
See, this is another hard topic because yes, we do want to let people in because we are a melting pot, and that's what America's founded on, to give people new freedom. But we got to realize our enemies are going to use that to our disadvantage. So maybe we should just tighten it up. I'm not saying don't let anyone in, but I mean we need to make sure the people we let in are who they say they are, and they're not going to cause us damage. We don't need something to happen. What happened on that fateful day?
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of the quote that's inscribed on the Statue of Liberty. And it goes something a little bit like this, and it says, "Bring me the wretched refuse of your teeming shores." And that's really what America has been. It has been a melting pot. But at the same time, we want to protect the citizens that are already here.
Yep.
So it is definitely something that can go really either any way. Granted, there's always a concern for terrorism or anything else that can come through that refugee train. Mm-hmm. Also, we have the NSA collecting phone/email metadata on citizens. which is something kind of like the Patriot Act.
Man, I don't... Got no privacy, people. No privacy whatsoever.
Granted, I shouldn't be too much to talk on this because I don't even have a passcode on my phone, and I figure if you want to know what I've said to Bryce over the weekend about how we should go grab some hamburgers, power to you.
Yes.
But then again, there are some more private conversations that people would prefer to keep private, and a lot of freedoms can be taken away in the name of trying to keep us free.
That's the truth. That's the truth, man. You never know. People can just tap in on your phone anytime. I mean, they could be tapping in right now.
Yeah, they could be listening to this.
Hi, FBI.
Hi, FBI. And the people that do support the phone tapping is Trump, and naturally everyone else disagrees with it. Now on to legalizing torture. Trump does agree with having torture legalized, like stuff under the Bush administration, whereas everyone else disagrees. Trump would like to bring back waterboarding.
I agree with him here, and I mean, at the end of the day, we need to empower our boys overseas and even the boys here to be able to get information out of people that want to do us harm. I mean, if the death penalty is still in play in this country, which it is, I see no reason why trying to extract information from people that is going to do damage to us should be illegal.
Now, Bryce, I'll actually have to disagree with you on this point. I've done some research on my own, and I've found out that less than 10% of the information extracted is actually true. Now, granted, this really brings into question if these practices, not if they're humane, but if they're reliable. And granted, if these practices are reliable, then I think the question really is proposed is, will you sacrifice some of these people's rights in order to save many people?
Yes.
So that's a question that you at home can answer.
Yep, and thank God that some of us won't be put in that position, but some of us will.
Exactly.
Go Air Force.
Now, let's get on to gun control.
You hear that? That's freedom calling. Second Amendment, baby. Second Amendment. Shout out Everett.
Now, Hillary Clinton has said in the third presidential debate that she does want to have some gun control measures, but at the same time, she doesn't want to step on the toes of the Second Amendment, which seems kind of contradictory, if you ask me.
Very, very contradictory. If you ask me, I don't think you can trust her on that part.
And it's interesting to look at the demographic at this. Both male candidates, Trump and Johnson, say that there should be no gun control, whereas both female candidates, Clinton and Jill Stein, both said that there should be some form. Jill Stein has even gone as far to say that she wants to ban all assault weapons.
Yeah, no, you can't do that in this great country of ours, which I'm very happy about. I agree with Trump and Johnson in that there shouldn't be really any gun control, but I mean, if you are going to have some form of gun control, it should not be able to restrict what kind of firearms you want to buy. It should be who's going to actually get those firearms, if you know what I'm saying. You know, that criminals, ex-cons are not able to get certain weapons, which I totally agree with and understand with background checks. But you should legally not be able to take away a man's gun in his own house or make it hard for a hard-working class citizen to be able to get a gun. And that, I think that's the sad part. I can get a gun off the street easier than I can legally.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is that if you go back and look at statistics, for instance, Switzerland, where every single family is issued an assault rifle, there is actually an extremely low crime rate. Now, before you get up in arms, you have to understand that each person in Switzerland is required a certain amount of compulsory military service. So, if people are trained and know how to respect and use a firearm, is it safe? Research has said that it is, but that's up to you to decide.
Another research statistic you can look at, gun-free zones. I mean, how many times do those things get robbed? I mean, not the smartest idea in my opinion.
Exactly. There's a reason why they're called soft spots.
Mm-hmm.
And on to same-sex marriage. Now, Trump, Clinton, Johnson, and Stein all have very similar views, except for Trump, who says that we shouldn't. He has tried to bridge the gap at some points, trying to become similar, as I mentioned previously. But as a Christian individual, I know how we should all feel about this. Granted, in America, a place of equality, does that equality clause, does that cover same-sex marriage?
That's a very, very hard question to ask because, one hand, you could take the Christian view, and some people outside Christianity call it a Bible thumper view, in that, no, there should be no same-sex marriage. But then you look at it as America, where everyone's given the same opportunities and want the same benefits as marriage, and you got to think hand in hand. It's a very, very tough decision. I know where I stand on this, but I mean that's really hard for some of us Americans to decide, especially Christian Americans nowadays.
Exactly. Well, we can always go back to the phrase "one nation under God." Granted, many argue that we aren't anymore, but still, at the same time, it says that on our money.
That was freedom again. Just wanted to let you know.
Anyways, this will conclude this segment in the broadcast. We will be back after this short break. Well, newsflash, America. Donald Trump is your president-elect.
Woo! Trump train! Woo, 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 woo.
Now, in even more important news, the varsity Capital Christian football team won section.
Hey, you know what it is. Shout out Coach G. Put that back on right there. And in other news as well, Trump won the presidency, winning key states as in Ohio. Ohio State sucks. Florida and Pennsylvania. And it took a while, man. Like, I was up late. I mean, if you're watching, they counted those votes, man. And, I mean, he just made blue states red.
Yeah, exactly. And what's interesting, though, is that Jill Stein, as well as with help from the Clinton Foundation, has tried to schedule a recount. They have paid for it, or at least attempted to so far. They've raised millions of dollars for it. But even Jill Stein herself has said that it won't make a difference. And here we have our news dog,
Sweetie!
right here, which you cannot see on camera, but she's the one making that annoying whining sound. My mom is waiting for her to die.
She's a beautiful dog, though. I'm not gonna lie. She's not gonna lie. But yeah, no. But the reactions to Trump were not very, very well, with riots breaking out all over, and just, man, it's crazy, man.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gotten bad. There's been riots in a lot of major cities, so far to the point, most of them have been peaceful, but some have become violent. Things like, especially on Twitter. Twitter was really nasty after Trump won the election. But some roads have been closed, things like that. Things are starting to simmer down now. But on the other hand, partly due to the media's monster that they've created out of Trump, the white supremacist groups and neo-Nazis and things like that have been activated, and we have seen things like Make America White Again, and even at one point there was a school, and all of the African-American students in the freshman class were added to a group chat in Oklahoma that was scheduling lynchings and calling them obscene names.
But see, I feel like you cannot tie that with President Trump, because when President Obama got elected, I mean, you have things like Black Power and like Black supremacy, like coming back as well because of that. And I feel like you cannot blame our president-elect for that, even though that is terrible. As we know, hatred's in the world no matter what. So I don't feel like you can't really tie that into them. And also just the way people socially are treating each other.
It's horrible.
Just because you voted one way or another, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I mean, we're Americans, you know what I mean? But I mean, I'm happy because, I mean, in my opinion, I won on this one. I don't know about you, but still, it's terrible how people are treating each other, man.
Yeah, it is bad. Now on to his cabinet. For his cabinet, so far, Donald Trump has elected Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions for Attorney General, Kansas Republican Mike Pompeo for CIA Director, South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley for Ambassador to the UN, and Republican donor and school choice activist Betsy DeVos for Education Secretary, as well as Lieutenant General Mike Flynn, his national security advisor in the White House.
In other words, the Speaker Paul Ryan tried to make amends with Trump after winning presidency, trying to create unity in the party after the words he spoke to Trump and did not support him during his presidency. and he did say he's going to try to put Ben Carson in there. We've heard.
Oh yeah.
Yep, and then also breaking news coming out that Mitt Romney might be a Secretary of State. Looks like his front runner.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. This has been a very interesting election. Paul Ryan has definitely tried to make amends. After many Republicans did not support Trump, he was seen as a dark horse even in his own party, which is a very interesting turnout for this election.
Yeah, the only one that really supported him was Ben Carson.
Exactly. Anyways, that will conclude our broadcast and our analysis of this election. Tune in next week for more breaking news.
Hey, love you guys. See you later. Suck to be a liberal.
It's a rough time if you're a liberal, man.
Yeah, it must be really rough being a liberal, bro. Hey, dude, man, I don't know what got me more excited, man. Trump winning or going to that Gary Johnson rally, man.
That Gary Johnson thing. Well, besides the smoke machines they
yeah,
have running.
the smoke machines. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and they actually did have smoke machines.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was just people smoking.
I don't know. And then also, I felt like I was at a cult.
Oh, I agree. You notice I was the only black dude in there?
You were?
Yeah, I didn't recognize that. And of course, we saw Robert there. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Except Robert was at the front.
I know. What do you got to say about that, Robert?
Exactly.
Who would you really vote for?
That is a good question.
Oh, dude. Hey, let me just play our song, bro. Let me just
Okay.
Let's show people what we are. We are the champions, my friends. And we'll keep on fighting to the end. We are the champions. We are the champions. No time for losing, 'cause we are the champions of the world. Oh man. Trump wins, we win, America wins.
And America.
And America. Oh goodness. Bro, this was probably the most socialized election when you think about it.
Yeah, it was very, a lot of young people were in it. Granted, we're older now, so
I know.
that might have been a difference maker.
I know, that's right. I think I was learning what it is really well. I feel like a lot of young people spoke out in this election, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. You know what? I do agree with only one thing Mr. Johnson said. Man.
What's that? That we're all bees?
No, but not. Yeah, that was the bee's knees. But no, but like the bees, that we need to dance. You know what I mean? Like we just need to. Like, we just gotta go and dance, you know? We gotta dance, bro. Like, we're bees. Like, we need to dance, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm talking about, man? Yeah, we just gotta dance, bro. We gotta dance.
Oh, you don't know how to do that?
I actually don't know how to do it. You know?
I know.
It's actually my first time hearing the song, dude. Like, yeah.
I'm a couple shades too light anyway.
Yeah, bro. Hey, but you know, those light skins, we just, like, yeah. I just like a little something, just nothing, like, not really hard, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
Party in these girls looking at me. Skinny jeans on, you know my head nappy. Hey, okay. I want y'all to do this dance now. Juju on that beat, juju on that beat, juju on that, juju on that, juju on that beat. Now slide, chop, hit the pole, don't stop, hey, don't stop, hey, don't stop, hey. Run a man on that beat,
Budget.
Run a man on that beat,
Budget.
Run a man on that beat,
Budget.
Run a man on that beat. Do your dance, hey.
You ugly. You your daddy's son.